Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Nakonella, or Knucklepecker from Twitch. Today we're going to be playing Dagon, an interactive adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's book, Dagon. This was recorded on my Twitch. There will be a link in the description if you're interested. And if you like this type of content, maybe consider liking and subscribing and sharing and commenting. Now let's get into the video. Thank you for watching. Yeah, we're playing Dagon, based off of a complete interpretation of the book of H.P. Lovecraft's Dagon. Well, there's a DLC, Craving for More, Pool of Madness, Dr. Emerson's Nocturnes, and Merciful Names, The Witches. Stay up to date. No, you just want to start that. I just want to start that. Dagon is a faithful interactive adaptation. That's what I don't know how to speak at all. Terrible English. Of H.P. Lovecraft's work focused on story and atmosphere. You will not find difficult choices. You will not find difficult choices. Okay. Action sequences or inventory management here. And movement is limited to progressing through locations along with the plot. Just a adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's work, Dagon.
I am writing this under an appreciable mental strain, since by tonight I shall be no more.
During the game, you will encounter interactive elements. Some of them will allow you to continue your journey. Others will reveal interesting facts about the original short story, its historical background, and the author. Some of the trivia is hidden. In order to find these secrets, focus your eyes and look for the Elder Sign. Okay, where? That's the Elder Sign, I guess? Maybe. Just beats me.
Penniless, and at the end of my supply of the drug which alone makes life endurable, I can bear the torture no longer, and shall cast myself from this garret window into the squalid street below.
Really?
Do not think from my slavery to morphine that I am a weakling or a degenerate. When you have read these hastily scrawled pages, you may guess, though never fully realize, why it is that I must have forgetfulness or death.
What? Give me that thing so I can write some shit down.
It was in one of the most open and least frequented parts of the broad Pacific that the packet of which I was supercargo fell a victim to the German sea raider.
Oh no, the Germans are coming. The Germans.
The Great War was then at its very beginning, and the ocean forces of the Hun had not completely sunk to their later degradation. So that our vessel was made a legitimate prize, whilst we of her crew were treated with all the fairness and consideration due us as naval prisoners.
Yes. Just look and point. It's a point and click game. It's a story. It's
so liberal,
video
indeed,
game
was the discipline of our captors that 5 days after we were taken, I managed to escape
playing a video game story
book with water and provisions for a good length of time.
You've heard of books, right? With the paper and the pictures. It's like this, but it's 14 minutes. The game is 14 minutes long. It's just an adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's work. Hi, Choco. How you doing?
When I finally found myself adrift and free, I had but little idea of my surroundings.
Then we'll be switching to horror games.
Never a competent navigator, I could only guess vaguely by the sun and stars that I was somewhat south of the equator. Of the longitude, I knew nothing, and no island or coastline was in sight.
And this being a horror-based storybook, I just wanted to play it since it was free and do that so I could put it out on my YouTube because I love H.P. Lovecraft. Now, if I could figure out where to point my thingy. Right there. So it can tell me the next part
The
of the
weather
book.
kept fair, and for uncounted days I drifted aimlessly beneath the scorching sun, waiting either for some passing ship or to be cast on the shores of some
Don't
habitable
worry,
land.
it gets creepy. Where did you go, Choco? Choco, where did you go? Come back, Choco. Choco! No! He left me! Choco, you left me. I will drink now.
But neither ship
I will
nor
turn to
land
drinking.
appeared, and I began to despair in my solitude upon the heaving vastness of unbroken blue.
You don't say.
The change happened whilst I slept.
The change happened while I slept.
Its details I shall never know,
Of
for
course.
my slumber, though troubled and dream-infested, was continuous.
You don't say. It's an icky octopus.
When
Ew.
at last I awoke, it was to discover myself half sucked into a slimy expanse of hellish black mire, which extended about me in monotonous undulations as far as I could see.
Oh, huh. Well, let me just figure that out. 1 second, chat. 1 second. 1 second. Nobody's watching me, anyways. All right. What can I look at now? I need to look at something else.
And
Oh.
in which my boat lay grounded some distance away. Though one might well imagine that my first sensation would be of wonder at so prodigious and unexpected a transformation of scenery, I was in reality more horrified than astonished. For there was in the air and in the rotting soil a sinister quality which chilled me
there's-
to the very
There's some
core.
octopus people over there grabbing over the side of the boat.
The region was
Looking
putrid
for
with the
me.
carcasses of decaying fish and of other, less describable things which I saw protruding from the nasty mud of the unending plain. Perhaps I should not hope to convey in mere words the unutterable hideousness that can dwell in absolute silence and barren immensity.
Immensity.
There was nothing within hearing and nothing in sight save a vast reach of black slime. Yet the very completeness of the stillness and the homogeneity of the landscape oppressed me with a nauseating fear. The sun was blazing down from a sky which seemed to me almost black in its cloudless cruelty, as though reflecting the inky marsh beneath my feet.
Just rock right over the fucking squid man.
As I crawled into the stranded boat, I realized that only one
Oh. That only one theory could explain my position. I fucked up the story.
through some unprecedented volcanic upheaval, a
Ugh.
portion of the ocean floor must have been thrown to the surface, exposing
It's a
regions for
breathing
which
thing.
innumerable millions of
breathing
years had
mass.
lain hidden under unfathomable watery depths. So great was the extent of the new land which had risen beneath me that I could not detect the faintest noise of the surging ocean, straining my ears as I might.
Ugh.
Nor were there
That over
any
there is
seafowl to
disgusting.
prey upon the dead things.
The dead things. Can I look at the thing? No. Dead fish.
For several hours I sat thinking or brooding in the boat, which lay upon its side and afforded a slight shade as the sun moved across the heavens.
Did it now. Just baking in the sun as these octopus demon-like creatures just flay about. What can I touch? Can I look at something now?
As the
Oh.
day progressed, the ground lost some of its stickiness and seemed likely to dry sufficiently for traveling purposes in a short time.
Okay.
That night I slept but little, And the next day, I made for myself a pack containing food and water, preparatory to an overland journey in search of the vanished sea and possible rescue.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because the sea just left. It left you. It was like, bye. Pick up your
On
sack.
the third morning, I found the soil dry enough to walk upon with ease.
Yeah, you don't want to trudge around and then drown in mud.
The odor of the fish was maddening, but I was too much concerned with graver things to mind so slight an evil, and set out boldly for an unknown goal.
Oh my god. Just walk right over the squid. That's fine. Don't even walk around it, just walk right.
All day I forged steadily westward, guided by a faraway hummock which rose higher than any other elevation on the rolling desert.
Ugh, what are these things? These aren't fish. These are demonic fish things. It's like, these aren't fish. These are demonic fish things. Now, let's go back to this right here. Like, oh, that's just a whale. The poor whale. But that, what is that? That does not look natural. This don't look natural. None of the endless expanse of a muddy ocean floor that is barren of ocean.
That night,
just
I
not
encamped, and on the following day still travelled toward the hummock, though that object seemed scarcely nearer than when I had first espied it.
Yeah, it's so massive. The closer you get to it, it doesn't change, and it's so massive and so far away that its size is incomprehensible.
By the fourth evening, I attained the base of the mound, which
Have you
turned
eaten
out to
at
be
all?
much
The fourth
higher
even?
than it had
Have you?
appeared from a
You've just
distance.
been eating rotten fishies? There's an eye looking at me. That's interesting.
An intervening valley setting it out
you
in
doing, Eye?
sharper relief from the general surface. Too weary to ascend, I slept in the shadow of the hill.
Ew. You slept on the muddy, icky fish surface. Ew.
I know
Morning,
not
Nikto.
why
How you
my
doing?
dreams were so wild that night. But ere the waning and fantastically gibbous moon had risen far above the
Gibbous?
eastern plain,
Ew. That's a weird word to describe a moon, but okay. I don't know.
I was awake in a cold perspiration, determined to sleep no more. Such visions as I had experienced were too much for me to endure again.
Endured again.
And in the glow of the moon, I saw how unwise I had been to travel by day.
There's more people watching me. Hello, I'm playing Dagon, an interactive storybook made into a video game.
Without the glare of the parching sun, my journey would have cost me less energy.
The ending is the most scariest. It's like literally a 15-minute gameplay.
Indeed, I now
It's
felt
free,
quite
too.
able to perform the ascent which had deterred me at sunset.
And I just see nothing but blackness, sky, and icky, sludgy rotten fish bits.
Picking up my pack, I started for the crest of the eminence.
The eminence.
I have said that the unbroken monotony of the rolling plain was a source of vague horror to me. But I think my horror was greater when I gained the summit of the mound and looked down the other side into an immeasurable pit or canyon.
I really need to buy a camera. A brand new camera. I can see if I have my one that I have is not as broken. But yeah. Immeasurable pit or canyon.
Whose black recesses the moon had not yet soared high enough to illumine.
How you doing, Nikto? What you doing? I said hi, didn't I? I might have said hi. I don't remember if I said hi. Black recesses of the moon.
I felt myself on the edge of the world, peering over the rim into a fathomless chaos of eternal night.
I love the way the story tells.
Through my terror ran curious reminiscences of Paradise Lost.
Paradise
and
Lost.
of Satan's hideous climb through the unfashioned realms of darkness.
That's another book that's disturbing and scary, and
As the moon climbed
about a man who
higher
goes
in the
to hell.
sky, I began to see that the slopes of the valley were not quite so perpendicular as I had imagined.
You just jump off.
Ledges and outcroppings of rock afforded fairly easy
Icky
footholds for a
fish
descent.
sludge.
Whilst after a drop of only a few hundred feet, the declivity became very gradual.
Yeah, it just goes and goes. I know. I guess you're going down. I'm just climbing down the hole.
Urged on by an impulse which I cannot definitely analyze, I scrambled with difficulty down the rocks and stood
Nick, are
on
you
the
watching?
gentler slope beneath, gazing into the Stygian deeps, where no
Stygian
light
deeps.
had yet penetrated.
That weird obelisk-shaped thing.
All at once, my attention was captured by a vast and singular object on the opposite
An
slope,
obelisk.
which rose steeply about 100 yards ahead of me. An object that gleamed whitely in the newly bestowed rays of the ascending moon.
This is Dagon. This is Dagon. It is a interactive storybook video game. It is a point-and-click game. It is only about 20 minutes long. If you just click through it, and it's basically a book that's made into a video game. You just listen to what he's talking, listen to the story, see the visuals, see the scenery, the weird creepy obelisk there. The story's almost over. I'm gonna be switching to a different game soon, probably Pools, because that's all I got right now. How is this boring? It's like reading a book. It's not boring, okay? It's like reading a book. You ever heard of a book? Books with pages? Yeah, books are interesting, okay? It's for intelligent people. People who can, stand without, looking at TikTok. You gotta have, entertainment every 5 seconds, stimulation
But
in
it
your
was
brain.
merely a gigantic piece of stone, I soon assured myself.
I love books, okay? I love reading.
But I was conscious of a distinct impression that its contour and position were not altogether the work of nature.
Yeah, I saw the game.
A closer scrutiny filled
Not
me
really
with
horror.
sensations I cannot
More thriller.
express.
Give it a second. There's
For
gonna be a
despite its
demon.
enormous
A demon.
magnitude and its position,
I know,
in an
right? But
abyss
so are
which
two
had
of the other
yawned
games
at the
I'm
bottom
wanting to
of the
buy.
sea since the world was young.
And I'm broke, so it's all gonna have to wait until I get paid.
I perceived beyond a doubt that the strange object was a well-shaped monolith,
A monolith.
whose massive bulk had known the workmanship and perhaps the worship of living and thinking creatures. Dazed and frightened, yet not without a certain thrill of the scientist's or archaeologist's delight, I examined my surroundings more closely.
Yeah, examine your. Walk closer to the little fish pond.
The moon, now near the zenith, shone weirdly and
called
vividly
your
above
mates
the
at
towering
Steep-
steeps that
You sure
hemmed in
it
the
just-
chasm.
A game lacking in interestingness.
And revealed the
and
fact that a
nobody wants to
far-flung
buy
body
it?
of
I'm just
water
kidding.
flowed at the bottom, winding out of sight
Just
in
kidding.
both directions,
Just
and
kidding, Nick.
almost lapping
Don't
my
touch.
feet as I stood on the slope.
Don't touch me.
Across the chasm, the wavelets washed the base of the Cyclopean monolith,
Cyclopean monolith.
on whose surface I could now trace both inscriptions and crude sculptures.
Look at this, Nick. Look at this. He's gonna pop out. Somebody's gonna pop out. Oh wait, no, I gotta read this. I gotta read this.
The writing was in a system of hieroglyphics unknown to me, and unlike anything I'd ever seen in books. Consisting for the most
gotta read
part
the
of
stupid
conventionalized
novel
aquatic symbols such as fishes, eels, octopi, crustaceans, mollusks, whales, and the like. Several characters obviously represented marine things which are unknown to the modern world.
Yeah, wow, will something happen? Have you ever read a book before?
But whose
You ever watched a horror movie?
forms I had observed on the ocean.
Pretend you're watching a horror
plain.
movie. If you were actually listening.
It was the pictorial carving, however, that did most to hold me spellbound.
Unless there's a speech barrier.
Plainly visible across the intervening water, on account of their enormous size, were an array of bas-reliefs whose subjects would have excited the envy of a Doré. I think that these things were supposed to depict men, at least a certain sort of men. Though the creatures were shown disporting like fishes in the waters of some marine grotto,
God-like
or paying homage at some monolithic shrine which appeared to be under the waves as well. Of their faces and forms I dare not speak in detail, for the mere remembrance makes me grow faint. Grotesque beyond the imagination of a Poe or a Bulwer.
Ugh.
They were damnably human in general outline, despite webbed hands and feet, shockingly wide and flabby lips.
I don't see that anywhere.
Glassy, bulging eyes, and other features less pleasant to recall. Curiously enough, they seem to have been chiseled badly out of proportion with their scenic background.
Yeah.
For one of the creatures was shown in the act of killing a whale, represented as but little larger than himself.
Some like kind of fish god is gonna come out
I
of the water in a
remarked,
minute.
as I say, their grotesqueness and strange size, but in a moment decided that they were merely the imaginary gods of some primitive fishing or seafaring tribe.
Imaginary gods
Some
of a
tribe
primitive
whose last
tribe.
descendant had perished eras before the first ancestor of the Piltdown or Neanderthal man was born. Awestruck at this unexpected glimpse into a past beyond the conception of the most daring anthropologist, I stood musing whilst the moon cast queer reflections on the silent channel before me. Then, suddenly, I saw
There,
it.
now it's happening. Right there. Something's gonna pop out.
With only a slight churning to mark its rise to the surface, the thing slid into view above the dark waters. Fiend-like, loathsome, it darted like a stupendous monster of nightmares to the monolith, about which it flung its gigantic scaly arms, the while it bowed its hideous head and gave vent to certain measured sounds. I think I went mad then.
Yeah, something just happened. And it's not boring, Nico.
Of
If
my
it's
frantic
boring, then you
ascent
should
of the
touch grass.
sloping cliff, and of my delirious journey back to the stranded
Readable.
boat, I remember little.
Put down your phone longer than a minute.
I believe I
Like, that's
sang
not
a great
normal.
deal
Do you
and
think
laughed
some
oddly when I was
fish,
unable to sing.
seafaring creature has this kind of limb? No. That's weird. That's strange. Putrid, disgusting fish smell. Weird fish demons.
I have indistinct recollections
Dead
of a
fish
great storm
things. I'm at the
sometime
bottom of
after
an
I
ocean.
reached the boat. At any rate, I know that I heard pearls of thunder and other tones which nature utters only in her wildest moods. When I came out of the shadows, I was in a San Francisco hospital, brought thither by the captain of the American ship which had picked up my
Escape the
boat
horror.
in mid-ocean. In my delirium, I had said much, but found that my words had been given scant attention. Of any land upheaval in the Pacific, my rescuers knew nothing. Nor did I deem it necessary to insist upon a thing which I knew they could not
Ow, my
believe.
ankle popped. What's this? Lovecraft was a prominent figure in the world of amateur journalism in 1915. He started publishing his own journal called The Conservative, which included political and social commentary, poetry, short stories, and little criticism written by him and other authors. Howard was a skilled wordsman, but he also took criticisms to heart, which resulted in his decision to step away from writing poetry and concentrate on weird fiction again. For the first time since his teenage years, Dagon, published in 1919, is one of the short stories written during that period. In this excerpt from The Conservative, the Master of Horror, which explains his attitude towards the warfare and the idea of world peace, why any sane human being can believe in the possibility of a universal peace is more than the conservative can fathom. Should the entire civilized world agree simultaneously to disarm, one or more nations would undoubtedly retain secret armaments and at the proper time take advantage of their more altruistic and less astute contemporaries in a wild career of conquest against unarmed victims. No country is or ever can be above warfare until the basic impulses of the main human animal shall be miraculously changed. You can read the Discover Trivia immediately or go back to them later. In the main menu, turn off or display trivia if you can find the feature distracts you from the story. This can be changed anytime in the options. Show trivia upon finding them. Nikto, you'll know when it's over. Yeah. Go read a book.
Once I sought out a celebrated ethnologist and amused him with peculiar questions regarding the ancient Philistine legend of Dagon, the fish god.
Dagon was the main the deity of the Philistines, worshipped throughout the Middle East as the ancient god of the fertility and crops. In Hebrew, the word Dagon was a common noun for grain. The rulers of Akkad, Mesopotamia chose him as the patron saint of their war conquests. He also appeared as the judge of the dead in the Assyrian poem and an underworld prison warder in one of the Babylonian texts. He is often mistakenly taken for a fish god due to the wrong interpretation of his name, as in Hebrew the word dag means fish. In H.P. Lovecraft's works, Dagon is an underwater deity ruling over the deep ones, a humanoid race with fish traits that resides in the oceans. He is worshipped by a secret cult called the Esoteric Order of Dagon. Tits.
But soon perceiving that he was hopelessly conventional, I did not press my inquiries.
Screenshot saved. When did I screenshot something? A fish god, yes. Sounds exciting, yes. The Call of Cthulhu game that I've been playing, Nikto, is also based off of H.P. Lovecraft's work, which has also inspired this. It's a very interesting way to tell a story. Instead of having to read it, you instead play a game. And you learn something. Wow. Imagine that. Something bigger than yourself.
It is at night, especially when the moon is gibbous and waning, that I see the thing.
Just pay attention.
I tried morphine.
He tried morphine. He tried taking morphine.
But the drug has given only transient surcease, and has drawn me into its clutches as a hopeless slave. So now I am to end it all. having written a full account for the information or the contemptuous amusement of my fellow men.
Just let me take the morphine.
Often, I ask myself if it could not all have been a pure phantasm. A mere freak fever as I lay
The story
sun-stricken
uses too many
and
words
raving
that's
in
no
the
longer
open
being
boat
used anymore
after
in the
my
English
escape from the
language.
German man of war.
The modern English language no longer uses words like sun-stricken or phantasm. Okay, we don't use those words as much anymore. Maybe it's like
This I
we're
ask
getting
myself,
stupider as
but
human
ever
beings.
does
I don't know.
come before me a hideously
reverting back
vivid
to
vision in reply.
Oonga boonga caveman. This I ask myself, but ever does this come before me a hideously vivid vision in replay. Oh, it's
I cannot think of the deep sea without shuddering at the nameless things that may at this very moment be crawling and floundering on its slimy bed, worshipping their ancient stone idols and carving their own detestable
Oh my God, that's a
likenesses
big
on
boy,
submarine
big boy,
obelisks
holy
of
shit.
water-soaked granite.
fish demon.
I dream of a day when they may rise above the billows to drag down into their reeking talons the remnants of puny,
Hey, come back.
war-exhausted mankind.
War-exhausted mankind.
Of a day when the land shall sink and the dark ocean shall ascend amidst universal pandemonium.
The fish people are coming to kill everybody. Really extended this. I took the morphine.
The end is near.
The end is near. Oh, something's coming for me.
I hear a noise at the door, as of some immense slippery body lumbering against it.
I'm gonna die now. Oh no. That's the end of the story. I'm gonna die.
It shall not find me.
Hey, fuck you, fish man.
God, that hand!
The window! The window!
The window! The window!
And I jump out the window and crash to my death because I don't want to